Okay, hey, and welcome today to our English class, where we are going to be looking at the grammar that we have been doing when we have been talking about food. So we've talked about lots of vocabulary to do with fruit and vegetables. We know how to go to the market and ask for what we need, and we know how to say how much we want of something. Okay, so let's look at the grammar that we use when we talk about foods. So that's especially our nouns. And if you remember, we've got countable and uncountable nouns. So that means if I'm talking about one egg, okay, or 5 eggs, or 3 lemons, or 2 capsicums, because you could see that there's a number here, okay, it could be any number. It means it's a countable noun. Okay, so 5 eggs, 10 eggs, 20 eggs, whatever. That is a countable noun because I can count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, if I have an uncountable noun, that's words like rice, glass of orange, cheese, oil, food, bread. And if I want more than one, I need to say, for example, I want a bowl of rice, or 2 bowls of rice, or 3 bowls of rice. Okay, but I do not put an S to the ending of that noun. Now, the same thing with a glass of orange. That's 1 glass of orange, but I can have 2 glasses of orange or 3 glasses of orange. So I don't put an S to the orange. And the same with a block of cheese, or 2 blocks of cheese, or 200 grams of cheese. Okay, so again, we don't put an S to that noun. But if you look at the countable nouns, you will see that there is an ending of an S attached to the word. So that's the difference between a countable noun. Now, a countable noun is like egg, orange, apple, many different types of fruit and vegetables, but uncountable is words like these. Okay, we don't put an S ending. Now we know how to go to the markets and ask for how much we want. Now remember, when we say how many, we put a countable noun in the plural. For example, how many apples do you want? How many bananas do you need? How many oranges? How many lemons? Okay, so because it's countable, there's an S ending. Okay, so you've got some examples. You know how to say how many? Okay, so when we're asking someone a question, how many bananas do you want? Okay, it's a question, and the question starts with how many. Now, I can only, how many, use that with countable nouns, but I can use it with uncountable nouns, but I can't say how many sugar you need, how many flour you need. I must put, because you remember, uncountable nouns always have words in front of them, like a gram of, a kilo of, a liter of, a slice of, a tin of. So we can do it with uncountable noun, but we must have these words in front of them. So for example, how many grams of sugar do you want? How many kilos of flour do you want? How many liters of juice do you want? Or do you need? Okay, so we can see, how do we use an uncountable noun in a question, asking how much do we want, or how many with a countable noun. And you can see again that there is no S to the ending of the uncountable noun. So it's not flowers, it's just 2 kilos of flour, 3 kilo of flour, 5 kilo of flour. There's no S. The same as sugar, 1 kilo of sugar, 2 kilo of sugar, 3 kilo of sugar. No S. Now, how much, when I want to ask that question, which is the same as saying how many, but I could only use how much with uncountable nouns. So again, rice, sugar, flour, sauce, water, juice, oil. Okay, you got to remember which vocabulary to do related to food is an uncountable noun. And we looked at that at the lessons before. So I can say how much. Now, I don't need to say grams or that. How much rice do you want? How much sugar do you want? How much flour do you want? How much sauce do you need? Okay, so we can actually not use this one for the uncountable. Okay, so remember your uncountable means that there's no S endings. Okay, but the countable, we have the S ending. Okay, so let's look at matching up some sentences. So if I said we need, what could be an answer? Oh, sorry, just really quickly, let's practice some more. How many eggs do you want? That's countable. How many grams or kilo of rice? That's uncountable. Or you could say, how much rice do you want? How many lemons do you want? Is that countable or uncountable? Countable. You can see the S, countable. Okay. How many oranges? Is that countable or uncountable? Countable. There's an S. Now, if I say, how many glasses of orange do you want? Is that countable or uncountable? It's uncountable because we've got the structure where we say something of. So anytime you see grams of, kilos of, liter of, that is uncountable. If I say, how many capsicums do you want? Countable. We can see the plural S. How many kilos of cheese? Uncountable. How much cheese? It's uncountable. Yeah. So with how much, we don't need to say grams of, liters of, kilos of. This is how you could say it with the uncountable. How much cheese? But you cannot put how much with countable nouns, only uncountable nouns. How many kilos of fish? Uncountable. How much, how much fish do you want? How many fish do you want? Uncountable. How many grams of strawberries? Uncountable. We can see the grams of. How many grams of cheese? Uncountable. And how many bottles of mango juice do you want? Uncountable. Or how many bottles of apple juice? Okay, so let's have some sentences here. We need. So we need some chicken. So remember, some just means you don't know how many, more than one. We need some chicken. Okay, so that's how we use some. We need some chicken. I don't know how many. It's a positive sentence, an affirmative. We need some chicken. If I ask a question, are there any? What would be the answer? Are there any? Are there any onions? Yeah. So we know it's plural. because we've got are, that comes from the verb to be. So are there any, we use any in questions. Are there any onions? Okay, it needs to be plural because I want to know if there's any onions in the cupboard. Do I need to get some? Are there any onions? Do we have onions? Okay, when we talk in general, we always use the plural. And I don't want one, because then I would say, is there a onion? But I don't want one. I just want to know, are there any onions? If I say, please buy 2 so please buy 2 what? Please buy, we're on the review number 3. Please buy 2 kilos. We don't know of what. Please buy 2 kilos, remember, of chicken. Please buy 2 kilos of rice. Please buy 2 kilos of whatever. Uncountable noun because we've got the kilos of. Okay? Chop an, if I say chop an, yeah, an onion, because we know we can see the singular, chop an. So the word an is an article and it means one. So we must have the noun that follows it singular. So chop an onion. Okay, no S. Chop an apple. Chop an. Now remember an because the noun starts with an A, E, I, O, U, your vowel. So don't forget, you must put an. If not, it would be, you know, chop a cucumber. Okay, chop a carrot. Chop a tomato. Okay, so we have A here because these are consonants, but because this one is an A, E, I, O, U, a vowel, we need to say an. And we know we're only talking about one onion. Okay, so there's no S. Make sure there's no S's. You got to make sure your sentence connects if it's all singular or all plural. If I say I'd like so remember I'd like was a polite way to say I'd like a banana, please. So I'd like a banana, please. So remember, we usually say please at the end. It's a nice polite way to say what you want. And I'd is a contraction. It's a connection of the subject, I, and the verb would. I would like a banana, please. Or I'd like a banana, please. And if I say question, do we need a? So a must be singular. Do we need a? Do we need a lemon? Okay, so it must be singular because I said a, so make sure there's no S. Do we need a lemon? Do we need an apple? Do we need an onion? Do we need a whatever? Okay, let's choose some of the correct options. So if I say, do you want an apple? The answer is, you could say no thanks. Now, when you say do, you got to say yes or no. So do you want an apple? No, thanks. I don't eat much fruit. So remember, when we use much, let's have a look at the rule. When we use much, it's with uncountable nouns. Now we know fruit, food, rice, oil, juice, these are all uncountable nouns. So do we need much? I don't eat much fruit. It's used in a negative sentence. I don't eat much fruit. Okay, so no S because we know it's an uncountable noun? Why not? So why? Why not? Now, fruit is an uncountable, so I have to use a lot of. You could use a lot of with countable or uncountable. So because we're still talking about the same topic, fruit, why not? A lot of fruit is good for you. A lot of fruit is good for you. I know, but I prefer other food. I eat, now pasta and pizza, one of them is, well, they're both uncountable. So I eat a lot of, because it's a positive sentence. We've got an uncountable noun. So you should have, I eat a lot of pasta and pizza. Do you eat? So we've got a question. A lot of, yeah. Do you eat a lot of Italian food? Because a lot of, again, is used with uncountable in positive sentences. Do you eat? Question. Do you eat a lot of Italian food? Yes, I do. So remember, it's a do question. So you have to say, no, I don't. Yes, I do. So do you eat a lot of Italian food? Yes, I do. It's delicious. Are there? Now, Italian restaurants is just a countable noun. So are there many? Because I could see many is used with countable plural. So are there, it's a question, are there many Italian restaurants in your town? No. If you hear the word many, take that response and put it in your own response. No, not many. If someone said, are there a lot of people in your class? Use that same word, a lot of. Yes, there are a lot of people in my class. Okay, so are there many Italian restaurants? Yes, there are many. Okay, so use the same word that you heard. So the answer was no, not many. Or it could be yes, there's a lot. Okay, so now we know how to use countable and uncountable nouns. We know the difference. Countable means I can count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like 5 eggs, 3 lemons, 2 capsicums. And I put an S to the ending of my noun. But uncountable is words like rice, glass of orange, a slice of cake, 300 grams of flour. Okay, that's uncountable. There's no S to the noun. No S. Okay, we know how to use a or an. Remember, that's with singular. So chop an onion. So when I say an or a, these are called articles and they are used for singular one noun. Okay, so make sure that there's no S. We know how to use some. Some just means like more than one. So we had a question with, we need some chicken. We need some eggs. Doesn't matter. It could be plural. It could be countable or non-countable. We need some flour. We need some eggs. We need some strawberries. We need some onions. We need some bread. We need some food. Okay, it doesn't matter. Plural or, countable or uncountable when you say some. Okay, the word could be countable or uncountable. It doesn't matter. But for countable, don't put an S. Do we need some bread? bread, there's no S. But if you say, do we need some apples? You must put an S. Okay, so some is always used with plural, countable, or uncountable. So chicken is uncountable, but if I said apples, that's plural countable. And we know how to use a lot of. Okay, a lot of is with both countable and uncountable. Yes. And much and many. So remember, many is with countable. Much is with uncountable. But we can never ask a question, do you much? Okay, let's look at some vocab. So fruit, what are fruits? We know that we have oranges, raisins, should be your fruits, apples, bananas, right? Pear, so many different types of fruit. Vegetables, we've got potatoes, capsicum, broccoli, cauliflower, onion. Okay, that's your vegetables. Meat, type of meat, we've got chicken, lamb, fish. Fish is a white meat. Bacon, beef, that's all meat. Mutton. Drinks. Okay, we've got lots of different types of drinks. Milk, juice, Coke, Red Bull, water. Remember, we looked at sparkling water and mineral water, two different types of water. And a dish means a type of meal. What's the name of the food? So we had this one, which was from Poland, and satay, which was from Indonesia, I think. And remember, we had curry from India. And then we looked at our food from our traditional food from our countries. So you remember in the last few lessons, you talked about your traditional meals, your traditional food. So empanadas from Latin America. And a container means something that you put something in. So a tin is made from aluminium. You've got like a tin of sardines, a tin of tuna. And a bag is more like a bag of potatoes, a bag of rice, a bag of chips. Okay, then we had slice, glass, packet, and tin. So I could say I want a slice of pizza. So that just means one. Now, if I want to make that plural, I can say 2 slices of pizza. You never put an S to the uncountable noun. You just put an S to this word when you say 2 slices, 3 slices of pizza. We have a glass of water, okay? Or 2 glasses of water, 3 glasses of sparkling water. We've got a packet of pasta. Yeah, a packet of pasta. A packet of anything that comes in a packet, in a plastic packet. And a tin of tuna. Okay, so now we know how to talk about different types of food, and we know, we looked at the lessons before, we know how to write a recipe. We know how to tell someone how to make something. So you got to look at the last lessons to see write a recipe. Okay, we've got number 8. So let's replace some of these words. If I say, can I get you anything to drink? That means, you know, do you want anything to drink? Can I get you anything to drink? Or can I get you anything to eat? You can also say, would you like anything to drink? Yeah, so that's a very polite way. Would you like anything to eat or drink? So if someone is visiting your home, you could say that. Would you like anything to drink? And remember, we heard would as the verb that we use to make our question. So you must respond with the same verb. Yes, I would like a drink, please. Or no, I don't need a drink. Or no, thanks. But if you say yes, I'd say, yes, I'd like. Remember, we can connect the subject and the verb. Yes, I'd like a drink, please. Or no, thanks, I'm fine. No, thanks, I'm okay. If I said I'll have a bottle of water, you can also say I'd like. Remember, I'll have, I'll take, I'd like. Remember, we always have different ways of asking what we want when we're at a restaurant. So don't always say I'd like, I'd like, I'd like. You could also say I'll have, I'll take, I'll order, I'll get the steak with fries, thanks. Okay, so we've got different verbs. I'd like, but you could also say I'll get a pizza, thanks. Okay, we like to say thanks at the end, so it's polite. I'll get a pizza, thanks. Would you like to order? So if the waiter asks you, would you like to order? Another way to say that is, are you ready? Okay, we say in English, are you ready to order? Would you like to place your order? It's a bit formal, but are you ready to order is what a waiter would say. And when you've finished eating at a restaurant, we know how to ask for the bill or the check. Okay, so remember they're the same words, the bill or the check. And we can say, we'd like the bill, thanks. So remember we, because maybe I'm in a group with my friends eating dinner. So we'd like the bill, thanks. Or can we have the bill, thanks? Can we get? You can even say, can we get the bill, thanks? Okay, they're just different ways. Can we get the bill, thanks? Can we have the check, thanks? Okay, so we know that when you go to a cafe or a restaurant, when you want to talk about what you normally order, so that means, what's very common, like what do you, majority of the time, what do you get? So, for example, someone can respond, for breakfast, I normally order. So this means we're not talking about what we had for breakfast yesterday or last week or on Sunday. This just means in general. I'm using the present simple because I'm just showing you in general, this is what I order. So for breakfast, I normally order when I go to cafes or restaurant, I normally order eggs with bacon. That's a very common breakfast here, eggs with bacon. Pancakes. Okay, we know what these are. Pancakes, waffles, very American. Waffles with fruit, waffles with maple syrup, toast with jam. You'll see that a lot when you go to hotels. In the buffet, you'll see toast with jam, or maybe something that's traditional from your country. So whatever your answer is, you put your answer here, but as long as you start your sentence with, for breakfast, I normally order, and then say the name of the breakfast meal. For lunch, I normally get a burger. I normally get rice with beans. I normally get chicken salad. I normally get pizza. Okay, whatever your answer is, you can put your own answer, but that's how you can say your sentence. For lunch, I normally get whatever. You can say order. For lunch, I normally have. You can even say have. Okay, so let's practice by putting the have here. So it's the same. For breakfast, I normally have. For breakfast, I normally get. Okay, you can use whichever verb. And for a special dinner. So that means maybe you're going for a birthday party, maybe you're going for an anniversary with your partner or your husband, maybe you're going for a special moment. So for a special dinner, I order. Remember, we can say I have, I get, I order. I should say I usually order, whatever your answer is, pasta, or you could say the name of the pasta: spaghetti marinara, lasagna, steak. I know for me, I like steak. Chicken parmigiana. Okay, so now we know how to order a meal when we go to a restaurant. Okay, we know how to speak with the waiter. We know how to tell the waiter what we want, and how to be polite in the way that we speak, and how to end the conversation, that we need to leave now, so can we please get the check? Can we please get the bill? Okay, so that's the review that we had for looking at food. So we were talking everything about fruit and vegetables. We went to the market. We did a lot. We went to the restaurant. We wrote recipes. Okay, we talked about countable and uncountable nouns. We talked about food that was traditional to our countries. We talked about street food. Remember street food as well? And we shared a lot of, we talked about food labels. Remember that when you buy something, there's a label, like a sticker on it, and you can read, things like, is it organic? What's the use by date? What is the nutritional content? Okay, so that's the end for our review. Looking at food, it was a lot of vocabulary to do with food in the past few lessons. Okay, so that's all that we have for today. Next lesson, as I said last lesson, that we're going to be looking at the past simple. We're going to be talking about what happened in the past. Using the past simple, we're going to know the regular, irregular. We're going to know some expressions, time expressions. How do we start our sentence when we talk about the past? We're going to be asking people, how was your evening? How was your weekend? Okay, we want to know, did they have a great trip? Did they have a great weekend? We're going to write, thank you messages as well in a formal and a casual way. And we're going to look at objects from the past. So that's all next lesson. Okay, so that's it for today.